In this lecture, we are going to study the role of water in transpiration process, where the water flows through different parts of plant. We will study the factors related to the transpiration process. Transpiration is the process by which the moisture is carried through the plant from the roots to the small pores on the underside of leaves, where it changes to vapor and is released to the atmosphere. Transpiration is essentially evaporation of water from the plant leaves. Transpiration also includes a process called guttation, which is the loss of water in liquid form from the uninjured leaf or stem of the plant. Water is absorbed from the soil by the roots and flows up through the xylem to escape out of the stomata in the leaves. The driving force behind it all is water potential. Water potential means the ability of water to move from the high water potential to the low water potential. It actually means the water likes to go from where there is lot of water to the place where water is not so much. What is stomata in plants? Stomata are small openings on the leaves of plant. Located on the lower epidermis of a plant, stomata allows water molecules to evaporate. Thus plant breathe too, but they do it through the tiny opening in the leaves which is called as stomata. Stomata open and close to allow intake of carbon dioxide and the release of oxygen. The air which surrounds the plant is usually less moist than the leaf mesophyll. What are guard cells? Guard cells are specialized cells in the epidermis of leaves, stems and other organs that are used to control gas exchange. The stomata pores are largest when the water is freely available, and guard cells are turgid and closed when water availability is critically low and the guard cell become flaccid. When the stomata are open, water is lost by evaporation and must be replaced via transpiration stream with the water taken up by the roots. The guard cell controls the opening and closing of stomata. You can see the two images in which closed and open stomata is shown with its labeling name. After this, let's have a look on evapotranspiration process, which is the sum of evaporation and plant transpiration from earth, land and ocean surface to the atmosphere. Transpiration accounts for the movement of water within a plant and the subsequent loss of water as vapor through the stomata in its leaves. You can refer image for better understanding. Evaporation accounts for the movement of water to the air from sources such as soil and water bodies. What is Turgor? Turgor is a measure of cell firmness. The water loss is associated with the process known as plasmolysis. It plays a role in cell expansion and certain movements such as closing or opening of stomata. Turgor pressure pushes the plasma membrane against the cell wall of plant, bacteria and fungi cell. This pressure turgidity is caused by the osmotic flow of water from area of low solute concentration outside of the cell into the cell vacuole, which has a higher solute concentration. The top layer of soil where plant roots are located is above the water table, and thus it is often wet to some extent but is not totally saturated. The soil above the water table gets wet when it rains. The water infiltrates into it from the surface, but it will dry out without additional precipitation. Since the water table is usually below the depth of plant roots, the plants are dependent on water supplied by precipitation. The water table near the land surface, such as next to lakes and ocean, plant roots can penetrate into the saturated zone below the water table. This picture explains you the water table beneath soil level during dormant season and growing season. What is relative humidity? Relative humidity is a measure of amount of water in the air. Relative humidity is measured on a relative scale rather than a linear scale. It plays an important role in plant health. In the greenhouse, it is possible to make a relative humidity a little more friendly to the plant through a use of equipment. Next, let us learn how to measure relative humidity. Before anything can be done to alter the relative humidity in the greenhouse, it needs to be measured, and measurement must be entered into the environmental control system of greenhouse. Many hobby greenhouses don't have sophisticated enough environment control system to measure relative humidity and operate equipment to change it on a schedule that provides adequate control. Relative humidity is measured providing greenhouse to maintain it in the environment. Thus have a look at the graph which is plotted between transpiration rate and relative humidity. What are the factors affecting transpiration? Firstly, increased air movement increases the rate of transpiration as it moves the saturated air from the around the leaves, so the gradient is steeper. Atmospheric pressure affects transpiration as decrease in atmospheric pressure increases the rate of transpiration. Greater light intensity increases the rate of transpiration because it causes the stomata to open, so increasing evaporation through the stomata. Increase in the temperature increases the rate of transpiration. As higher temperature, it provides the latent heat of vaporization. Increases the kinetic energy, so faster is the diffusion. Water supply also a factor as transpiration rate, which lower is if there is little water available as transpiration depends on the mesophyll cell wall which is being wet. When cells are flaccid, the stomata is closed. Thanking you.